Can you tell me exactly how black women contribute to what's going on in the black community? And I mean as a collective, not so much individually, but like what are black women doing? Like how are black women oppressing black men?
One thing I never understood is how y'all be having a certain type of preference on how y'all want y'all to look. She gotta be skinny, she gotta be petite, she gotta have Chinese eyes, she gotta have long hair. Y'all be saying all that, but did y'all forget about who raised y'all?
Don't give a about men's mental health. Y'all just hate. Y'all don't care about men's mental health. Y'all just hate women. That's the long and short of it.
How have black women contributed to our downfall? In what way on a systemic level? If you're going to point to some woman in the history of mankind or in the history of America or whatever and be like, see, she did X, Y, and Z, that's not what I'm talking about.
All right, y'all, a little bit of house cleaning before we get started. For those who have been rocking with me from day one, I appreciate the support. For those who may be new here, coming in or out the door, for me, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, get it cracking in the comments. Every bit of your engagement helps promote me into the YouTube algorithm. I thank y'all for the support. Now let's get to it. Drop the video. Let's go.
Can you tell me exactly how black women contribute to what's going on in the black community? And I mean as a collective, not so much individually, but like what are black women doing? Like how are black women oppressing black men? Are black women oppressing black children? Are black women oppressing the LGBTQIA community? Like where are these systemic problems that black women are contributing to? Like I really want to know. I'm really not joking. Like maybe I'm missing it, because let me tell you what I'm saying. I'm seeing black women show up at the rallies. I'm seeing black women organize all the protests. I'm seeing black women on the front lines. I'm seeing black women at the town hall meetings. I'm seeing black women raise the kids. I'm seeing black women contribute very little to the violence in our community. Like I'm seeing all of these things, and I'm just not able to understand how they are actually contributing in a significant way. It's not to say no black woman is contributing, but like as a group, once again, because we're talking on a systemic level, how are black women actually contributing? How is it both sides? Like I'm very confused.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Well, you should be confused because your position is disingenuous to start.
Go on.
I think you have a profound misunderstanding of what systemic and systematic means. See, systematic is a way of doing something. Systemic is an actual system. And so when you say this bullshit of you can't see anything that black women are doing as a collective that creates or lends to the systemic problem in the black community, then I don't think you understand what systemic means, because black men aren't upholding a system neither.
Alrighty then.
There's no system in place in the black community that black men created,
Go on.
maintain, and uphold through force that oppresses black women, black children, or members of the LGBTQ plus community. What is the system, sir? Because your argument is disingenuous. Because systemic means there's a system in place. There has to be a system in place to uphold the oppression, and there's no system in the black community created by black men and as a group or a collective held in place through force and laws. What's the system? I dare you to even name the system. See,
this time it's personal.
in the overall community of America, there is a system in place of white supremacy which upholds racism. We can point to these institutions historically, and we can still do it today, whether they be overt or covert. But you cannot point to a system in the black community that black men got together as a collective,
Go on.
created,
Go on.
made laws,
Go on.
and it's upheld through force that oppresses any group collectively in the black community. See, this is bullshit. This is a disingenuous position. You want to lay all the ills and woes of the black community at the feet of black men.
Bitch, I can't call it.
Why? I have no idea. Well, I kind of do. This is what people of his ilk do. They're conjoined at the hip with black women, and they facilitate the misandry on social media along with black women. Why? Because he hates himself, because he hates black men. And sir, whether you don't want to be it or not, or whether you recognize the fact or not, you are indeed a black man. That's what the world sees you as. No one cares what you do in your bedroom. It doesn't matter what you do in your bedroom. When you go outside of your door and before you speak, before you open your mouth, you are viewed and perceived as a black man. Well, I see the nail polish on your fingers, and most of us who can pick up on context clues can pretty much gather and fathom where you're coming from. But that's not what I'm saying here. I'm saying as a whole, when you're part of a group as a collective, they see you the same as the rest of us who are not of your persuasion. So your argument is disingenuous on its face. There is no system in place that black men upheld in the black community, I should say, by force, by law, and by design. Get the hell out of here with this nonsense. Let's go to the next one.
One thing I never understood is how y'all niggas be having a certain type of preference on how y'all want y'all bitch to look. She gotta be skinny. She gotta be petite. She gotta have Chinese eyes. She gotta have long hair. Y'all be saying all that, but did y'all forget about the fucking bitch who raised y'all? The bitch is shaped like a motherfucking quarterback, like a fucking refrigerator, like a casket. And y'all be trying to say that, oh, I'm not dating no bitch over 120. I'm not dating no bitch over 150. Bitch, your mama is over 250. Fuck is you talking about? Did you forget about the hoe that raised you? Mama's boy? Like, oh, you don't want a bitch that look like your mama, but you want a bitch to treat you like your mama, but y'all don't like linebackers too? Oh, okay. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Silly ass.
Hey, fuck what you heard. It ain't your world, big girl. It ain't your world.
You really are a fat bastard.
I get the feeling this was personal for her. Like the verber at which she presented this information, I'm picking up some personal interest or personal stake in this. Let me say this to you, young lady. I don't even know who she is. I don't know what ticked her off or teed her off. But let me say this. The reason that men can choose women that are different from their mother, and I should say their mother's appearance, is because in normal society, in a normal mind, and if you're raised in a normal, healthy manner, you're not sexually attracted to your own damn mother. What? What part of that do you not understand? I can want the qualities and the traditional values and the ladylike values my mother brought to set to me as an example in my life growing up, that when she raised me or when she was rearing me. But that doesn't mean I'm sexually attracted to my mother because of the values that she has. This is some insane weirdness. And she's not the first black woman I've seen make this comparison. What the hell is wrong with y'all? We are not sexually attracted to our mothers. We're not deviant. We're not incestuous. We don't have that attraction to our mothers. Now, you may have that attraction to your father if your father was around, because that seems like some weird shit you're coming off of. But ma'am, lady, we don't have that same affliction you have. We don't see our mothers as sexually inviting or attractive because it's weird. And you're weird. This whole diatribe you went on is weird. You're just upset that you can't get the men you desire because they don't like big girls. I can't stand when y'all get on social media and personalize this stuff, but you try to make it seem like it's not personal. But it is personal because somebody had to reject you based on the fact of your weight, and you can't deal with that. And now you want to get up here talking about some, y'all mama big. So what? My mama can be as big as a house. That don't mean I'm sexually attracted to my mother, and that should be something I desire in a potential mate or someone I want to be in a relationship with. My mother isn't someone that I find sexually attractive. And you know why I don't find my mother sexually attractive? Because I'm normal, unlike your weirdo ass. Let's go to the next one. Dumbass.
Don't give a about men's mental health. Y'all just hate Y'all don't care about men's mental health. Y'all just hate women. That's the long and short of it. We're talking about single moms, so mothers who are abandoned by the father or man. Somehow, man leaving, creating a broken environment for a boy, which breaks the boy. And then the boy, once he becomes a man, is so broken that he takes himself out. You still, in that equation, somehow find a way to blame women.
What you just said
is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
I mean, first of all, another sassy man with a disingenuous argument. Let me ask this question, and I'm going to ask this question because if anyone comes across this, this is the question I often ask when I hear this. How can you abandon something when you're doing something from an ass backwards perspective?
Go on.
How do you leave your family? How does a man leave his family? Did he marry the woman? Are they shacking up? Are they playing house? Are they making babies without the context of wedlock?
Nah, gang, I'm not fucking with that.
See, these are questions that need to be asked because when y'all say men abandon their families, then how are they abandoning something if it wasn't done from a traditional standpoint to begin with? See, this is my question and this is my argument with men like this. You say men abandon their families, but how? A family is not made unless it's in a pretext of marriage. Because you just get together with someone and have a baby, a family does not make. A family is contained from a wife, a husband, and their children being reared or raised under the same roof. Y'all want to take things, again, this is taking something from its original state and making it something you want it to be, and then you're shocked and chagrined that the outcome is different. Well, if you want men to stay in a family structure, first of all, women and men need to learn that you don't operate from an ass backwards perspective. You get married, you build a life together, then you have children when you're financially stable, and then you have better outcomes. So you don't have to get on social media acting like an ass talking about men are abandoning their families. You can't abandon a wife. You divorce a wife. A wife can't abandon her husband. She divorces her husband. See how that works? See, when you do things right, then you have to say, well, they got divorced. And that's far different than saying someone abandoned someone. Y'all are so disingenuous to it's sickening. Let's go to the next one.
If this is true, then why can't you guys answer my question? I've asked repeatedly to tell me how. How have black women contributed to our downfall? In what way on a systemic level? If you're going to point to some woman in the history of mankind or in the history of America or whatever and be like, see, she did X, Y, and Z, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying as a group, as a collective, how have women, black women specifically, contributed to our downfall? Tell me how. Stop saying they have done it. You guys aren't listening. Like, clean out your ears. I'm asking you to give us specifics. What have they done? Give us the examples of black women doing that. That's what I'm asking for. You're like the fifth person I've asked this to. You're the fifth person I've asked this to in the last like 3 days. None of you guys can answer the question. None of you can. So stop saying it. If you can't answer the question, then maybe that's the answer. Have you thought about that? Stop saying that black women, oh yeah, it just goes both ways. Prove it. Prove it. I can prove it for black men. I can show you how black men have done it. You know it. That you already acknowledge that black men do it, but you're just trying to add, oh, well, black women do it too. Okay, cool. Now tell us how black women do it. We'll be waiting.
Why are you in so much competition with me?
So I brought this back at the end here. So a commenter on his post said, painting one side is simping hard. The truth is we all have contributed to our downfall. I'll read that one more time because I kind of messed it up. Painting one side is simping hard. The truth is we all have contributed to our downfall. So that's what he's responding to. And I always say this when you have a disingenuous position. What's the context? And I keep coming back to this with people like him and people of his ilk. What's the context? Saying that black men have created a systemic issue in the black community is nonsensical, because you have yet on any of your posts that I've seen state how it's systemic. You're talking about individualized criminality such as violence. There's no systemic issue of violence in the black community. There's a systemic issue of culture of violence in the black community, which is perpetuated by children raised, guess what? Cover your little baby ears up, single mothers. Now you want to say how those women became single? Because black people operate from an ass backwards perspective. Again, we keep coming back to the theme of what I always say. operating from an ass backwards perspective. This is what happens when you operate from an ass backwards perspective. You're going to get things that are out of order. You're going to get things that are misshapen. And this man simply wants to lay the ills and woes of the entire black community at the feet of black men, when a lot of this stuff is cultural issues. What do we value? Both black men and women have an issue of what we value culturally. It has nothing to do with systemic issues. It's cultural issues. Glorifying violence, glorifying criminality, I should say, just glorifying criminality, especially in the means of financially making monies. I lost my train of thought, but I'm getting it back here. Glorifying criminality in the ways of making money, or at the behestment of, well, getting the bag. See, those things are cultural. Now, I'm not saying we haven't been indoctrinated to take these things on, these dysfunctional things on from a cultural standpoint. We all know that we've been thoroughly and bred culturally to accept these things of degeneracy and dysfunctionality. But sir, what you're trying to do, you're simply trying to obfuscate the ills and woes of the black community at one gender's feet. And I think it's a very disingenuous argument. I think you're coming from a place of resentment, of some kind of way of hating yourself. Like, someone really needs to put a mirror up to your face and show you who you are, because I think you have some internalized hate that you're projecting on to black men as a whole. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to end this with this. There's no system in place in the black community that black men created, make laws, and uphold through force that oppresses black women, black children, and members of your community. It just doesn't exist. All of this stuff you're complaining about is, we can actually look at it from an individualized level and say that there's some cultural dysfunction that's going on, that's in the psyche of the black community, that causes this dysfunction. But to say it's systemic is ridiculous. It's systematic because it's a way of doing something, but it's not systemic. Systemic means a system. You need to get a dictionary, a thesaurus, or something, and look up systemic, because I think you have a profound misunderstanding of what the fucking word means. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna wrap it up, man. That's all I got. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, get it cracking in the comments. 2 fingers. Peace. I'll see y'all on the next one. Like Jesus.